Hey, and good morning. I'm Angela, and I'm here with Omuugn. Today, we're talking about coherence. Now, coherence is a really interesting topic because it has us asking the question: are your words and actions and deeds in cohesive alignment with your life? Please help me welcome Omuugn. Hi, Omuugn. How are you today?
Good morning. It's a beautiful pre-winter day.
I appreciate you taking time out of your day. Tell us, part of your life is you've made some commitments, and your actions as you're showing up here today are very cohesive with those commitments. Tell us in your own words, what is coherent?
Coherence is when everything is working together, when you're in alignment with everything. One of the problems that we have in the world today is that things are not coherent. We try to solve this problem or that problem without realizing that everything is tied together and everything needs to work a certain way to be successful. So coherency is how things fit together, how they support one another, how they're synergistically related. Coherence is the idea that makes everything work really well in relationships, in projects that we're working on, all of the challenges that we face. Sometimes we don't stop to wonder if things are coherent, but that makes all the difference in the world if we can add coherency to whatever it is that we're doing.
If you're new to the concept of coherence, how do you recognize that there is or there is not coherence in your activities?
Coherence is a term that not many of us use frequently, so we haven't really given the time and effort to understand. For example, in speech and communication, the way sentences are put together, the way punctuation is used, the way we utilize words on different levels for like college people or kindergarten children, the thing that we're trying to accomplish has to be coherent within itself. A lot of times we try to communicate with someone, and our idea of the concept and their idea are two totally different things. So when we say something, we assume that the other person understands what we're saying, and the other person assumes that what they're understanding is what you're trying to communicate, when many times that's really not the case at all. The way our language is put together needs to be coherent. Everything that we're utilizing to communicate needs to be in place so that both parties can understand each other and communicate on a very exacting basis without making a lot of assumptions or guesswork. We want to learn to communicate clearly, and that clearliness is a result of its coherency. If things are incoherent, we have all kinds of problems.
As you're speaking, I just realized that this lesson needs to be attached to Marriage 101 because as I got married, there was a lack of coherence in our communication. And I was like, wait a second, this is not working for me. And I just stopped. I said, okay, however we were communicating in the past, it's come to a grinding halt. I no longer read minds. So from now on, moving forward, you must use your words. This is going to encourage us all to think in different terms and to communicate better.
Marriage is a good example, but actually, all relationships are based on the same idea.
Mm.
There's a relationship between spouses, there is a relationship between parents and children, there's a relationship between siblings, and there are principles and ideas and concepts that need to be in place for all of those relationships to be successful. We need to spend more time looking at something specifically, like how can I communicate more effectively? We need to teach our children how to communicate effectively and how to put all of the ingredients of a strong relationship into place. We need to teach people how to interact with each other in a mature, grown up way. That's hard with little children. We have to give them examples and operate on a different basis, but they need to understand the principles that make everything coherent so that they can interact with each other in a productive way, in an optimistic way, in a fun way, in a cheerful way. Everything that we can do to make life enjoyable, irregardless of what the relationship is. It might be just a friendship. There are certain things that make a friendship really strong and cohesive. And there are things that kind of tear a friendship down. Maybe it's an inconsistency in the time that we put into the relationship, or maybe we've made assumptions about how the other person feels or how often they would like us to show up. If you let people take away your energy, take away your joyfulness, after a while you become incoherent. And that's what we try to avoid. All of the things that you can understand and put into a relationship that make it the relationship that you prefer, then you're successful in becoming more and more coherent. And just as a principle, we're never perfect. We need to be flexible. Everything is changing except the first three laws. And as changes occur, we need to be adaptable and realize that life is not going to progress just as we design it. We're going to have challenges and obstacles to overcome. We need to be able to develop the traits and skills that enable us to handle those kinds of things. That's part of the coherent formula, is being adaptable and flexible and understanding.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you guys again next week when we join together with Omuugn and we cover the next topic in the insights and wisdom of Omuugn.